your son has a passion for music. So you asked him to go and find a way to develop it, and you allowed him to put a mattress and find ways to soundproof his wall. So your father treated you one way, you are treating your son in a different way. Now, is this something that's happened generation wise, or do you think it is because you were of the way you have been growing?
It's a good question. Actually, 2004, I had a brain hemorrhage. Ravi was the single person responsible who could manage my family and me at the hospital. All those, he managed everything. And my wife did not know that I was going through that condition. So one fine day, one evening, on the balcony, both of us had old monk. And we laid out plans that let us start a company. We'll name it Greek because Nike, all those are Greek names, Nike.
You are figuring out GST. You are figuring out how to make something run in Vapi. You are figuring out everything at the same time. But suddenly, magically, you decide, I have a lot of free time. Let's write a book. How did that happen?
Like when we were young, remember those inland letters we used to send to our parents?
Wait, why do you look at me and say when we were young? I am 20 years younger than you, sir.
When we were young, okay.
You are young now. Look at him.
See, you are young. I consider myself young because that's why I looked at you. No offense. Take care.
Pineapple Podcast, episode number 5. Today we get to meet the adventurer that is Syam. Syam studied in BITS Pilani, traveled abroad, worked for 8 years in Saudi Arabia, came back, didn't want to rejoin corporate life, so decided to start a company. Has a successful company, and even then found time to be a published author. All this and more today. Let's find out how he did this. Welcome to the Pineapple Podcast. It is an honor to have with us today someone who I'm only meeting for the third time, but I have a large amount of respect for, is Syam.
Thank you.
Here is how much I know about you, sir, and I'm already impressed. You went to BITS Pilani, you worked for 30 years, you got bored. Instead of retiring, you said, no, I'll do something else. I decided to start a company. Started a company, it is successful, you again got bored. Decided, now what do I do? You decided to write a book. When did this all start for you? And was this the career path that you thought you will be on when you started?
Firstly, thank you for inviting me because I feel honored to be part of this program. Because I had never done, this is my second podcast in a very proper formal setting. And
This one is better, no?
Certainly, it looks more professional if you may say so. But I never think, in my wildest dream, ever thought that this would be the way the life would traverse for me. Because if I have to go into details, I have to go right from the time I was born and then a lot of things to say. But certainly, this is not the way I had planned.
Have you been back to BITS Pilani recently? The last time you went?
Once after graduation, there's an interesting story behind that also, why I needed to go there.
Why, what happened?
You know what, after graduation, I got employed with SAIL, Steel Authority. They didn't ask for my degree certificate. They just looked at the mark sheets and took me in. After 17 years, I decided to move from SAIL to Ispat Industries in Bombay. That's currently JSW. They too did not ask for the degree certificate. Now in 2004, when I got the opportunity to work in a Saudi firm in the Middle East, the first thing that asked is, where is your degree certificate? And at that time, I never knew that I had a degree certificate in hand. So I went online, I knew that I never had a degree certificate in hand. So I wrote to the dean of, the alumni relations. Wrote to him saying that I graduated so and so, this is my ID number 83A PS160. I never had my degree certificate, so kindly please send it across by courier. And I get a reply from the dean that on so and so date in 1987, we sent your degree by registered post to Neyveli. Please check.
Neyveli, Kerala?
In Tamil Nadu. That's where my father was working.
Okay.
That's where I grew up actually. So immediately I called up my father, saying that the university says that they had sent a degree certificate by any chance you know about it? He said, yeah, it's with me. And then what happened was, yes, so okay, I said, please send it by courier. That's the first time I see my degree certificate. Now, the thing why I had to go to Pilani was, that degree certificate needed to be attested by the university, and then another attestation by the local Jaipur by the government of Rajasthan before it being sent to the consulate in the Saudi consulate in Delhi. So in 2008, I had to fly down to Delhi, went to Pilani, and that was the time I went back to Pilani.
So when you went to BITS Pilani after what, 20, 30 years?
87, 2008, so 21 years.
21 years. I'm guessing you would have seen a lot of change there. Did you?
In fact, at that time, there was not much of a change. It was nostalgia for me, right?
Okay.
I mean, so I was basically looking of what was when I was there from 1983 to 87. So I looked at everything. The clock tower was still the same. The D lawns were still the same. Pilani has got a very interesting curriculum. There is no attendance there.
They don't take attendance?
They don't take attendance.
He'd love it.
Zero attendance to the day. So you need not go for classes to get yourself to this thing. You just need your own whatever. You use your own resources to study. And there I was. Yeah.
So do they give you projects to do and you have to prove yourself? How do they grade you if you?
So Pilani has got a lot of tests and exams. I mean, there are quizzes every 4 days. Then there is a test coming in. Then there is a comprehensive exam to the end. A lot of projects in hand.
Okay.
So many things. They keep you engaged, but you don't need to go to the class.
Okay.
There's so many. I can go on telling about BITS, about the uniqueness of BITS, like how you can get graded. You don't get scores like say 80% and it's converted as that. It is a CGPA system, right? Cumulative grade point average, wherein suppose there's a class of 50 and the average score is 60, then 60 becomes a C.
Okay.
So the band is drawn. They draw a graph and you can know like, alright, this band I am C, this band, okay, I am B, this band I am B. The exceptional ones are A.
Okay.
So that's the kind of, so you can score a 30 and still score a A out of 100. You can still score a 90 like I did in engineering graphics and score a B.
I hated that subject.
So what are some of the memories you have, if you're allowed to, best memories you have about BITS?
The biggest memory I have is I honed my cricketing skills there. Because every time
What do you play in cricket?
I happen to have a passion in cricket right from my childhood days. I used to listen to those radio commentaries and all. Whatever I learnt about cricket per se was listening to this commentary by Anand Shettleward. Farooq Engineer sometimes. Then Jim Maxwell, Dungapur, so many other, Christopher Martin Jenkins, Henry Blofield.
Yeah.
Those were the guys with whom I listened and I was under passion. But you know what? In school, my father used to say, get into engineering, get a job, or get into any job, and then you'll get to play cricket. But of course, in Neyveli, when I was playing, I got selected to the South Africa cricket team. But then I could not play. My father did not allow me. In Pilani, yes, finally my dream came true. I could qualify myself and become a university player, BITS Pilani player. And we in fact beat the Hindu college team and all from Delhi when they came there. And I was known for my bowling.
You were a fast bowler?
I was a fast bowler. I could swing the ball. I was not fast, but I could swing. So the new ball was given to me always. And Pilani guys know me as a cricketer, not as an academic brilliant guy or something. But yes, so, and there we used to play cricket almost every day, morning, evening, night. I was playing cricket only, and that was right ingrained in that.
Your father did not allow you to do something. Well,
Yes.
fine, for whatever reason.
Correct.
We were talking off camera and you said that your son has a passion for music. So you asked him to go and find a way to develop it, and you allowed him to put a mattress and find ways to soundproof his wall. So your father treated you one way, you are treating your son in a different way. Now, is this something that's happened generation-wise, or do you think it is because you were of the way you have been growing?
It's a good question, actually, because different perspectives. Nothing against my father or nothing against my son, if you look at it in that balance. See, my father had his own. If you want to go to his story again, I heard after I graduated from BITS, did I hear that he had ran away from his home at the age of 18
Where was his home?
in Alapi district of Kerala.
Okay.
Due to certain reasons, because I mean, the family pressures or something like that. He was asked to run away by his mom, interestingly. And he ran without anything and came down to Chennai, summer. And probably he survived for 3-4 days without food and water. That's what
How old was he?
He was 19. when he ran away from home.
And his mother asked him to leave.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And then he took up a job as some that in the railways, right? You when you go on the trains, you see people pushing those tracks, pushing those carts on the side track. That's called, I don't know, lineman or someone. That's what he did. And someone told him that there is some Mallu in Neyveli who could give a job to a Malayali. And that's how he reached Neyveli. He joined as a helper. Slowly, he had an interest in chemistry or something, so he was sent to Annamalai for some training, and he became a junior operator, grew up the ranks, and finally he retired as a executive. So, for him, his interest was to see his son become a very good student. For him, the focus was only on ensuring that his child should, both me and my daughter, my sister. So, my sister, both of us studied. I don't know what made me, but Neyveli was a place where one could focus on studies. We had no diversions. We had all the fun in life. Nothing major. If you look back today, studies was the primary thing. Schools were good. Teachers were good. And that put me into BITS. Okay. So, now when I look, I never knew, I was never under pressure to choose anything. Because when you look back, after I finished my 12th, I had two options. Engineering or medicine like normal, and I got admissions in both. And there was no struggle. It came on a platter. Pilani came on a platter to me. I didn't do anything extra. Not me, I had 9 other students from my school coming to BITS Pilani. The school, probably that's the beauty of Javarai Secondary School or St. Joseph's Cluny, the two good schools in Neyveli. Whoever happened to be there came out to be a better, at least as far as engineering or medicine is concerned. So I went there. So for him, the focus for me was to excel in studies. For me, when I came out, obviously Pilani, the brand, has not failed me anywhere. Even today when I go and speak somewhere, people generally, Pilani, okay, he must be good. That is the kind of, and that brand has always helped me in my career. And so once I started growing up, I realized like, I did have, if I had my choice, I would have been a cricketer, no doubt. When I was young, I didn't know that I had enough money to pursue that, but I wanted to be a cricketer. So that is still there in my mind, that if I had been a cricketer, probably my life would have been different. Maybe, we never know. But then, if my son said that he is interested in music, he was very clear. Right at his 12th standard, he told me that he wants to pursue a career in, or he didn't say career, he said a business in music.
How does that conversation go? So how does a child approach their father in today's generation and say, Appa, after 12th, I'm going to do music?
Great. Again, all these are contextual ones, you know that. So, Ashwin grew up, he was born in Kerala and he grew up in Bokaro Steel City in Bihar. And when I got my job here in Bombay, he was hardly 10 years old when he came to Bombay. And he grew up in Ryan, he studied in Ryan International. Probably something in him got him to like music, maybe. Then, when I moved to Saudi Arabia, he came to Saudi. So, in 9th and 10th, he was in Saudi.
Okay.
When he finished his 10th, I decided to put him in a school in Kerala, in a place called Tiruvalla. And my parents were his local guardians. Because my family, my wife and my younger son, we were in Saudi at that time. Now, one day my father calls me up and tells me, Syam, something is wrong. I said, what happened? Now your son comes home with 2 guitars. He is into drugs, he is into something, I think so. Because how can a young student in school come home with 2 guitars? Nothing. Then I asked Ashwin, are you really interested in music? Because now we are at that stage where he could understand. He said, yes, I am in the school band and I want to practice and I love music and that is going to be my passion. And I asked him, are you really serious? He said, yes, when I grow up, I want to be a musician. He said, really, seriously, are you really considering that? And that was a very frank and open discussion I had over the phone. But next time when I came to Kerala and sat with him, I realized that yes, he was already into many things in music and he wants to pursue. And I said, yes. If really a student wants, but I told him, see, there could be a passion now that probably when you grow up, it may not be there. I'll have to wait and watch, but I said, if you want to pursue that, I'm there for you. This was the conversation I had.
Do you think your son, sorry, last question. Do you think your son pursuing his passion is what forced you to quit your job and start your own company?
No, nothing.
Nothing. This was your own decision.
This is my own decision. I'll come to that. There were some other circumstances which forced me. Not that I didn't have a passion for this, but how I started, that's a different setup. Nothing to do with my son's musical journey.
So, two questions. Nice history, thank you. What I've realized is, two generations, your son was very comfortable to have that conversation with you. Big difference. You may not have been comfortable to go and tell your dad, I'm making a big assumption here, right? That I want to do something else apart from engineering. Yeah, maybe Syam wouldn't even have been bold enough to do that because, hey, it's a no-no. How can I even ask? I'll get yelled at, right? But across generations, this whole dynamic has changed. People are very comfortable. I feel it's now because you're just more open to them. And, life is very transparent. Before, that's not the case. And, in my time, right, I had the same choices, engineering, medicine, or you need counseling. Engineering, medicine, or you need counseling were the only three options. So it's amazing to see that you are part of the newer generation who are giving their kids the opportunity to be heard. So a question to you is, do you still feel, and I like the fact that you said their passion may change, so how do you view the relationship with your kid going forward now? Is it one of a parent or one of more like a coach?
So thank you. So firstly, I cannot concur more than what you said about my dialogues, if I may say, with my father.
Yeah.
My father was a disciplinarian.
Okay.
Absolutely strict. In fact, he used to cane me if I had to. Those were the times. Now coming back when it came to my son, see again, I think my moving away from Neyveli in that small little town which gave me everything in the terms of studies and values and all those kind of things, getting out of that well and coming out and moving to Pilani, that was a big culture change, culture shock for me in fact, to be honest, because there I was, I studied Hindi in my second language, but I could not speak a word of Hindi. Going all the way to the north of India, traveling to Delhi for the first time, seeing the world outside, seeing, if I may put the right word, the elite class of people in Pilani. I was a guy, my father could not even afford me. Looking back, I don't know how he managed that. He took some loans, put me there. For him, the ambition was to get him to a best college in India. I never knew that this college is going to suck away a lot of money from my father, because one of the highest tuition fees in that time was that. And here I was looking at students from Delhi, from other parts of India, absolutely wearing the top-notch dress. I was sleeping with the shoes on the bed and all those things. Like when you come from Tamil Nadu, from those places where the shoes have to be outside, you can't do all those kind of things. They're mixing with probably the elite crowd there and coming to understand the thought processes of different people from different parts of the country. That makes a very big change in the way you think. The association, I will say so. Probably that gave me this thing of an open mind. For me, that 4 years in Pilani was a big learning lesson.
Were you treated differently because you were from South India?
Sort of, yes, initially. Initially it looked like, because we were called Illards, Illards means Illada, Tamil Illards. So Illards, we had bongs, we had mallus, we had goltis, and I won't say that there was an undercurrent of racism or whatever you call it, but yeah, segregation was always there, because that is the formative years, right? And everyone makes an opinion and things like that, and we were from Neyveli and we were from Tamil Nadu and all those kind of things. So obviously, and at that time, again, it was a shock. So I was learning all the time. See, these are kind of associations you have, the people think like that. Because while growing up till my 12th standard in Neyveli, that never gave us any differentiation. Everyone were, be it a normal, my father was nowhere in the position in a factory, but I was studying, and some of my friends' parents were director in finance. But we never felt the differentiation. Going to Pilani, we started understanding that there is world outside, there is class, there is creed, there is so many other things. And that continued even when I went to Bihar. That was another different lesson when I had my first job in Bihar. That was even more unique.
First job in Bihar.
Yeah, sale. I was working for Bokaro Steel and that was in Bihar. Another culture. All these are formative things. No? It shapes the way you think. So coming to a question regarding my son about whether I'm a coach to him or... See, the thing is, when he first told me about music, I found it interesting. I was happy that one way here is at least one of my in my family who would love to go take a different path. Now coming across, getting into Pilani in the formative years, somewhere around the time it could give me that, what if I had rebelled at that period of time, right? I mean 10 years back.
Yeah.
But here I am giving, at least I am seeing something was going different. I was happy for Ashwin actually, choosing that path. And so I was basically a guy who probably promoted him. In fact, my family was wondering what is happening. The others were also wondering what is happening.
They were wondering.
They could still be wondering what is he doing in music.
Okay.
But, so I was happy and I wanted him to succeed, to be honest. I wanted him. And even today when Ashwin probably releases a song, probably I'm the first guy on social media to send out the link that this is the song that has come out.
Please give us the links. We're happy to put it up on our show as well.
Thank you. And really, because I still feel that he has not got that break, but he has got enough in him to get into that big league. I still believe that, because again, when you speak to Ashwin, you will come to know that how he has been influenced by Ilaiyaraaja, because Ilaiyaraaja songs were the one that I listened to growing up. I always loved
For A.R. Rahman, the one person in South India, everybody knew was Ilaiyaraaja. You know Ilaiyaraaja?
I know.
Yeah, so, and for him, he keeps thinking that he heard the songs in the younger days and that stuck to him and something like that. So, today probably I'm more of a cheerleader for him than a coach also. I want him to succeed. I would like to see him grow up and really live his passion, right?
I'll tell you why he asked you that question. Because Mario is the eldest in his family. His father made sure that he studied and got a job and all that. Till date, his mother thinks he is the successful one. He has two brothers. One is started his own company in Bangalore in music. Other brother is one of the most fantastic human beings I've met. He's an event manager based out of KL, who recently did the event for Alan Walker.
KL, Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur. So these guys are all pretty successful in their fields. But when mom calls, see, Mario is the only person. He's a good boy. He has a job. He's doing all this. That is why he asked that question just now.
So, yeah, it's the whole mindset, right? A generational mindset that if you graduate from a premium university with a degree and get a 9-to-5 job in a branded company, check, you've succeeded. If you're taking the entrepreneurship part or doing anything risky like music, starting your own thing, we have to be careful with this. That was the mindset then. I think it's...
Yeah, and coming back, seeing Ashwin's choice, it also, now coming back to an earlier question, like about music and entrepreneurship, that built my confidence in rebelling. You got it right.
That is why I asked you.
I won't say that the question at that time was different, like whether that and this were really, not because of music did it come out automatically, but that rebellious thought came in, right? Started to come in. That way, yes. That way, then I thought, okay, I should work only till 50, why not I follow something which I want? Not because of Ashwin, but there was one more incident, again, a lot of connections somewhere.
What was the incident?
Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was maybe 38, 40 years old.
Yeah, Robert
Kiyosaki's, and that kept I understood what is an asset, what is a liability, and the fourth quadrant, and somehow I wanted to be in that fourth quadrant, somehow. Realize that whatever good job you are in, how much you have money in your this thing when you're working in the Middle East, ultimately the freedom. So 50 was the point I wanted, like quit the job. That was clear. Now, how did I come here? Circumstances helped.
What circumstance?
I told you I was in Saudi, 2008. Very happy with the job there. Why? Because I was working in India where I can put it very clearly. Here there's no value for life, value for time. Like, see, India, I don't know. That's my way of it. I was a workaholic. I loved working in sale. I loved working in Ispat. The challenge was I never saw Ashwin grow up. I used to go at 7 or 8 in the morning, come back late 11 in the night. Sometimes I never used to come back after 2-3 days, depending on the breakdowns. I was in the maintenance functions. Breakdowns in the plant
machinery.
Instrument engineer, unit control system, something or other fails. And some crucial functions I used to miss. I rarely remember celebrating a grand function at home, always under the impression I'll get a call now, I may have to rush the plant. That's a kind, and you are expected to be there. And even if not, see, suppose your phone doesn't ring overnight, you think that something is wrong. Like you are always tuned to the thing that the first calling is always the plant, not the family. And then after that you become used to it and you expect the others to get used to it. That's how Indian work culture is, I felt. Maybe it is changing today. I didn't know about a good culture in the Middle East. I just went there and I was lucky because for the first time in my life, after 21 years of working, I got a 5-day, 8-hour job. Despite doing the same functions that I was doing in India. Weekends were free. No one used to bother me. So that was the time I had my family time, the quality time that...
Family moved with you to Saudi?
Yes, I took them over.
How did this Saudi offer come about? Did you apply or someone referred you?
Someone referred me. And again by chance, there's again a lot of stories there. It was a Sunday. I was sleeping. I love sleeping on Sundays because sometimes you get an opportunity when you're working, right? So here I was at 11 o'clock. They tell me that there is an interview for Sahara Petrochemicals in Sahar Hotel.
Bombay.
I didn't know where Sahar was at that. We never used to have the time to move to Bombay, and I was staying in Kargar and working in the plant. So I thought, let me take a bus, go to the Kargar railway station, take some train somewhere and reach there. I tried boarding 2 buses. Didn't get place to get inside the bus at the Kargar stop. Okay. Went back, wanted to sleep, then something prompted me, like, let me take my car and go. And it was a Jharkhand registration car. I got caught somewhere in Bombay also. Someone asked me, the police asked me, I had to pay 50 rupees there. This was in 2004.
That's it.
2004.
2004 also 50 rupees is very cheap.
Yeah.
Whatever, but 50 rupees I gave him and he allowed me. I somehow reached the hotel, went to the interview. I had no background checks on which company it was, what was it, anything. I went to the interview and they said, we are offering you this, give me your passport. That was how the interview happened. Okay, I gave the passport, I got an offer letter, came back home, told my wife that we are moving to Saudi Arabia.
How did that conversation go? Kana, come here, sit. You know what? We are moving to Saudi Arabia. How did that happen?
So tell me, it was Saudi, right? Saudi is the most conservative country in the Middle East.
At that time must be.
At that time, now it's changed, right? So what were your impressions of, going from India, where you may say, it's, the work culture is tough here, but we have freedom here, we can wear whatever we want to do, and you were going into that. So how did you agree to that?
2 things.
Yeah.
To be honest, I never understood the freedom that was available in India because I never enjoyed that. I was always working. Okay. So for me, that didn't come into my mind at all. For me was 21 years in the steel industry. SAIL, Ispat Industries.
Yeah.
And as an instrumentation engineer, everyone knows that petrochemicals or oil and gas is the area to be for development as a professional. For me, that took over. And as soon as I got an opportunity for a new plant that was coming up, I thought, let me jump. Nothing else. Purely it was a professional decision. And I didn't know that we'll get the time there, but I somehow wanted to get away from.
How did the family react when you told them?
See, I am blessed to have a wife who is very supportive. She asks me no questions anytime. Even today, I can do anything I want. She believes in me. And whatever I am today is because of her.
The camera off करके फिर से पूछूंगा मैं.
100%.
So how did you manage in Saudi? And I'll tell you why, because I know people in my field who've gone to Saudi because the pay was really good. And from what I told, if you're from outside Saudi, there's a certain area, there's the enclosure near the American consulate, which is meant only for foreigners coming to work. They stay there. And there's not much of a mix between foreigners and the local Saudi population. So this is what I've heard. I don't know whether it's true. Can you clarify that for me?
I'll come from the, I'll make a statement and then I'll substantiate that. For me, the 8 years in Saudi, 2008 to 2016, May 1st, 2008, I went there. May 1st, 2016, I left there. These 8 years were the best part of my life, professionally and personally. Period. I told you professionally because 5 days, 8 hours work, the best systems, the latest automation, whatever you, I mean, ultimate, it was the state of the art technology that were used in those industries. So as a professional, I was learning, I was growing, I had enough responsibility and I was proud of that. Personally because of the time also. Now, when you go there, initially you feel a little stifled in the sense like, I mean, it's a barren land, greenery is poor, and the society looks as if it is very withdrawn. But you know, the expat community, that's an amazing setup there. The kind of support systems that is available, and over time when I started interacting with the local Saudis, it was so many things to learn, the more positives to learn from them. I mean, if the educated Saudis are all educated outside Saudi. Okay. And when they come back, and especially the colleagues that I had worked, they were all very, very, very respectful. Engineers were treated with great amount of respect. It was such a, they included all of us. We never felt alienated from them. Right? So there are two worlds out there. If you, again, I was lucky. I've always been a lucky guy. Somehow I went into a system which got me all the best things out of life. The people that I met, even today, most of the Saudis whom I worked with are still in touch with me. You know, some of them are reading my book as well. So it was, so when you tell about it, right? So now my family, again, how did they take to Saudi? My wife anyway is not an outgoing person. She is more of a homemaker, likes to keep us all happy and in any way that she can. But this expat community, that included Toastmasters, by the way, because it was there that I first heard of Toastmasters. I had never heard of Toastmasters before in India. And that community, the local Malayali community, the local Indian community, there was also an association called Association of Malayali Professionals in Saudi Arabia, AMPS. We used to have all the festivals celebrated away from, see, there are camps there. Those camps are all having excellent facilities and we could all go there, celebrate together. The bonding that was established. Some of my best friends of my life are still from Saudi, Indians from Saudi. We still travel together whenever they come over to India. So the stigma that people all advise me, you're going to a country where there's no freedom, nothing. We were free to do what we wanted. We are not supposed to interfere with the culture of theirs. That's what I felt. We all had a feeling like it's their culture. Like we value our culture, they value the culture. As long as we know we don't interfere with them, they don't interfere with us. Respect the laws of the land. Amazing driving sense they have. Of course, some of them do go. The roads are all so good. You can drive the best cars in the world. You get all the best food in the world, the dairy products. My children, they never wanted to leave Saudi. My wife, she was so happy there. You just imagine. I don't think you will get this from anyone. We felt like that. At least this is what we felt about being in Saudi. Those are the best 8 years of my life.
Was it the pita bread and the hummus and the olives
and kabza and
kabza
rice and whatnot? I mean, rich food, great people also, I felt.
So tell me, when I first had Arabic food, it was 8-9 years ago. It was in Canada, and I had the same thing. They got this chicken on the plate, and they had what we call rice. They say carbs, right? And so there was rice, there was chicken, and there was little bit of Tahiti sauce. There was no gravy, and so I was like, how am I supposed to eat dry? But then that's how you eat it, because rice itself is. So how did you, coming from Kerala, when you're so used to rice with gravy, how did you How did you manage this?
Again, you see, once you get out of from Tamil Nadu and you have been brought up in Pilani and then Bihar, you can get used to any cultures. I mean, that's for sure. And you said about chicken, you see a full lamb there in the free plate. And see, a very interesting lesson, the culture that Saudi has, it is, I mean, I think the whole Middle East also has that. When there's a celebration, everyone from the company comes together and you find the big plates full of rice with lamb, with all those things. And be it the president of the company, be it the driver of the company, all sit around and eat from the same plate. They believe in equality. Position is one. See, this is a difference. In India, this is what I felt also. Your boss, if he's a general manager, that position gives him the respect. Once he's out of the company also, still outside, he's a general manager for you. There it is not like that. He's a president in the company. Once he's out, you see everyone hugging each other, calling each other, everyone meeting up. That distinction per se that's something I learned a lot. No?
That's a very good point. It's so difficult to think like this. It is so difficult to think like this. You always carry that designation in your head.
True.
Even when you jump into the pool, oh, I'm swimming in the same pool as a director. Oh, can I swim?
See, this may be changing with the younger generation, but when I grew up, it was like that. A boss is a boss 24 hours. It's not there. Even college, just a new Saudi engineer comes up and hey Syam, come here. In India, even today, people call me Syam sir.
Yeah, I still call you Sham sir.
See, I won't say, that's our culture, right? I mean, something like we give respect to the elders. There, it is not that they are not giving respect. It is how open they are. How for them that difference. It's in the work. Yes, he can command you, but outside he cannot command you.
So, did you travel a lot in the Middle East? Did you see different countries? What are some of the great sights you've seen there?
Yeah, Middle East gives a lot of opportunity to travel. In fact, Middle East means when Saudi, we used to go to Oman. Again, all our relatives are here and there. Oman was there, Dubai was there. Yeah. Again, each country, Oman is a totally different culture where they warmly welcome Indians especially. They got a very good, the Omani people has got a very good connection with Indians, and most of the traditions and everything matches with Indians almost there, Oman. Saudi again is a very glitzy place, Dubai. Dubai is a glitzy place, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, all these places were good travel opportunities. Here because again, there was a twist in the tale because what happened was 2008 I joined there. 2012 my mom passed away. She had cancer, and after that I took my father there
To Saudi.
and he stayed with us for 3 years. And probably that was a time when circumstances forced me, because my father suddenly started having Parkinson's, and that thing was going worse, and then I decided it's enough. I mean, he needs to be back in India because the medication there is a little bit of a challenge. You don't get the best doctors or the best facilities. So I decided to get back to India to get him the proper treatment. And that is one of the reasons I told you, circumstances,
You could have come back to India and found a job. You didn't. You came back to India when your father was still sick and needed medicines, took a risk and started a company. Why?
I told you, once you taste the freedom of 5 day, 8 hours work, I don't think you can come back and work in India. I still believe that. Working in India, you need to be at least in the manufacturing sector. I don't know about IT, I don't know about other stuff, but in the manufacturing sector, you need to be in the workplace. And if you're in Bombay, you need to, if your work starts at 10, you need to leave at 7. Anywhere it is. That's how it is. So you're spending 16 to 18 hours on the road. So where do you give time? Ultimately, I wanted to give time to my father and our family also to come back and settle down. And I realized like working is not an option.
When did you make that decision?
To move back?
To that, I'm moving back, yes, but I'm not going to apply for a job.
2015. 2016 I came back. 2015 I sent my family back to India. I was lucky again. My home in Kargar got ready by 2015.
Okay.
And my younger son had just finished his 10th. My elder son Ashwin had just finished his BBA from Christ University, Bangalore. So he wanted to pursue his passion of music in Bombay. My younger son wanted to do his schooling from 11th and 12th in Bombay. My home got ready. So my father, both my sons all came into the new home in Kharghar. One more year I lived there just to wrap up things, get myself ready to get back so that I have a little bit of cushion of money to me so that I can spend at least 1 year of trying to do what I want, all those things, and that's how.
You built yourself, you decided you're going to take the risk, but you protected it. You made sure I have a backup plan, and then you started. So tell us about the company. How did it get started? What is the company, first of all?
Yeah, again, there's a little bit of story there. So when I came back, what to do? And you're already 50 plus.
This is 2016.
2016, yeah, 2016. I'm already 50 plus. I could have walked into any manufacturing unit. I knew people, then they wanted me also to come back and join. I said, no, I want to do something on my own. And again, lucky.
And let me interrupt. One perspective. In 2016, you could have walked into any company. What salary would they have paid you?
50 lakhs an annum.
Easily?
Easily.
Minimum.
Much more.
Easily.
So you said no to a 50 lakhs offer, saying no, I would prefer to start by myself. Okay.
Absolutely. See, I am in Mumbai. The power behind or the wind beneath my wings, as I say, right, is my cousin Ravi, who is also a partner in my company.
Okay.
He stays in Gansoli, and I respect him right since when he was young, even today. He is younger than me, but he is one person who, in our family, especially, I don't know whether you are aware, probably it's there in the book. 2004, I had a brain hemorrhage. Okay. It's called the subarachnoid hemorrhage. And 2004? Okay. That was the year I had come to Bombay. I just joined my job. And Ravi was the single person responsible who could manage my family and me at the hospital. All those, he managed everything. And my wife did not know that I was going through that condition. So many things. So Ravi has always been one of my biggest supporters, if I may say, even today. Both of us, we mutually admire each other that way. So Ravi told
brain
me.
hemorrhage. So
2004.
How did you find out you had a brain hemorrhage? Brain hemorrhage means you're not conscious, right?
I didn't know. I had a severe headache, and then I naturally passed out. That's what happened. Then they took to the hospitals. Later on, I came to know I went through that.
And your family didn't know that you had a surgery?
My wife did not know at that time. I didn't need surgery. They did an angio this thing, and angio corrections were done. They inserted a tube through and all that.
You can fix that with angio. Okay.
Yeah. It was one blood vessel had ruptured. Wow. That was the condition, and that was it. And the doctors were initially confused because I used to have migraine attacks, and they thought I had a severe migraine, and then someone thought that I had a, what is it called, the brain fever, what is it called?
Aneurysm.
Aneurysm is...
Stroke.
No, they thought that, what is this, something brain fever. Okay. So for that they need to do a spinal test, right, a fluid, they take out, they make you lie like this. Right. So in that, the spinal fluid, they found traces of blood, and that's how they understood that there is a seepage somewhere. And then those scans and stuff like that, all those things happened, survived. Okay. Probably that was the day when after I came out of that and realized all those things, I decided to enjoy myself, my life. You live only once.
So you took 2006,
2004, that was 2004.
2008 you moved to Saudi.
Yeah.
Okay. But 2004, one thing got clear, that life is to be lived to the fullest. That one. And really, today also, that's why no tensions for me anytime. I don't take any tensions, someday, all things will happen for good. That's it. But yes, so now coming, what were we discussing?
Yeah, Ravi was helping you in this company.
So those periods, he was the biggest supporter for me, he and his wife. He told me, you come back, I will support you, you do whatever you want, I will support you. And he was working for Reliance Defense at that time.
Okay.
And so there was this company based out of Chennai called Insto Technologies. And they were looking for a director to join on board. So I put in some money and became a director for that company. Okay. They were doing HR services, they were doing some other things. They wanted me for they wanted to get into technical lines. So they wanted a person with instrumentation background, and we joined together, and for 1 year I did there. I was working with them, but nothing much happened. Nothing much happened in the sense like we wanted to do something which, probably because of the distance, he was in Chennai, I was here, the coordination did not happen. Ravi said, Ravi by that time got frustrated with Reliance Defense. He decided, chalo yaar, now is the time that we both can come together. So one fine day, one evening, on the balcony, both of us had old monk. And we laid out plans that let us start a company, we'll name it Greek, because Nike, all those are Greek names, Nike. So we named our company Theia. Theia New Consultant. Theia means the goddess of light in Greek. So the name is, no, it should be an international brand. We'll make it big, we'll make it international. You have the Middle East experience. So that is how the idea formed. And once it formed, now again, why Ravi? Ravi is a person who can really execute things. And today also in our company, if my company is running, Ravi is the fulcrum. He drives the business business, the complete commercials, the complete, whatever you call it, what you need to drive a company, he is the fulcrum there. I do the networking. I am good at, I somehow have I like to meet people, may forge connections, long-term relationships. I believe in long-term relationships. So, in fact, friends have made my life. I am not, see, I am, for me, Pilani and friends, these two are combined together to take me wherever I want. Nothing on my own.
So an interesting question. You're past 50, way past 50. And I'm saying way past.
And I'm 9 years past 50. I can be open on that.
So, you know, people that age think of, you know, throwing their foot up on the couch, sitting with the old monk and watching the world go by and you know, giving commentary in the newspaper.
Have you ever had old monk, by the way?
Yes, I've had old monk. It's really nice. Right? They want to be consultants. They want to be high-end consultants. They want to just chill out. But you put your foot back into the water again, deep water, right? You're starting a manufacturing in a country where it's you need to get so many clearances and get things set up. So you went from tough to easy and then back to tough. Many people don't do that. They just want to be in the easy, especially after you feel you really made it to the gulf that you owe to yourself. No, you came back and you put, which is great. Not many people will do what you're doing, and you know you're excelling at it. So what advice do you give to people in that age group who are not really, you know, who don't really want to take that jump in, although they want to, they're just holding back and thinking, oh no, it's too late for us. You know, maybe we should. So what advice can you give to
it's very interesting, people? You know, see, looking now when I look today, 59, in 1 year time, if I were working in SAIL, Bokaro, I would have retired. Like there's 1 year, 60 people retire in the public sector. And today I see my batchmates in SAIL talk about retirement, talk about PF, talk about so many things that I won't blame them, but probably if I was in Bokaro today, I would be thinking the same, right? So, and I firmly believe that unless you take risks, you won't grow. It's not only in positions, but also the way you think. So, and most of my friends, believe me, are at the top of their industries. In fact, the chairman of SAIL is 4 years junior to me. The MD of Salem Steel Plant, a good friend of mine, is my batchmate. All of them are exalted positions. I value, and many of them are from reputed institutes as well. But as you said, not for me today, I believe that my life has just begun. Absolutely, I'm so, God has given me with good health now. And this is the time for me to really start my life. I mean, there's so many challenges to face. I enjoy challenges. That's one thing. And if I have to give advice to anyone, just don't think about retirement. Think about doing things, meeting people. See, if I had not joined Toastmasters, I have not met Krishna. I have not met so many people. So you keep yourself busy. When I wrote my book, I was doing that. I used to wake up at 5:15 in the morning till 7. That was the time I used to sleep. But that was the time that became productive and it gives me so much of what you call fulfillment, right? I mean, it feels so good. Keep doing Toastmasters. Then I recently, I believe myself in giving maximum time to everyone, including family. Everything has to be prioritized. Everything has to be compartmentalized. But I would say that keep doing things, not look at retirement. Don't think of retirement. Keep doing things. Whatever be it, whatever you like, right? And as you said, when I look at people who can contribute a lot to so many things as hanging up their boots at the age of 60, I really feel sorry.
What does the company do?
Which company?
The company you've started?
So so in 2017, 2016 I came back. 2017, Ravi and I had this conversation, and we decided to start a consulting firm first.
Okay.
So the consulting was, Ravi was a HR professional. He was already head of talent acquisition in the Tatas, and he had worked in Reliance, Jindals and the Reliance. So we thought like we can have a HR wing to us. Then we could use this thing as an instrumentation professional, and especially the Middle East contacts, and do something there. Do something. Nothing was clear. We wanted to start. We registered. Everything was done. We brainstormed, and then there was one more character who came in, Ajay Patil, a good friend of mine from my Ispat days, who was also in Saudi. We three of us got together and started venturing out, and started telling that we have started this, we could do this, we could do that. And believe me, we did so many things. Kya bolte hain, in Hindi, ajeeb thing. You know what the first thing that we did was, someone from Saudi contacted us and they wanted turmeric. 1 container of turmeric need to be shipped to Saudi, and that was the mandate that we had. And so we started studying about turmeric. Nizam turmeric, Salem turmeric. We learned a lot about things, but the deal did not go through for some reason. Next, someone wanted to set up an insulin manufacturing unit in Saudi. So we did that research also. Ravi and I burnt the midnight oil, made a project report, we submitted that, we lost that bid to a US guy. We understood that yes, at least we are able to compete now. And then one of my friends from Saudi called me and told me that they would love to have pressure gauges, which is an instrumentation item, exported to them. He told me like, please get it manufactured in India and export it to us. And that was the start that happened. So pressure gauges, we knew what pressure gauges were. We didn't have a manufacturing facility. But when I was studying, I knew that H Guru was the largest manufacturer of pressure gauges in those days. We met their MD, he was in Mumbai somewhere. We had a meeting in that Powai, there's a Punjabi restaurant, right? Big Punjab or some.
Great Punjab. The Great Punjab.
Yeah, so there we had a meeting, and he gave us the Saudi guy gave me an order for 187 gauges.
You remember how many gauges?
Yeah, 187 gauges, 5 lakh rupees was the purchase order. We gave it to this H Guru owner. He took it. In 1 month, he was supposed to make those 187 gauges. He made it. Ajay and I went to visit that plant where there was manufacturing, and we saw that kuch to gadbad hai. Kind of, because that was first time we are seeing a manufacturing facility in India who manufactures gauges, and we had come after working for 8 years in Saudi.
Yeah.
And we knew what is the standards that are going there and what is the standards being maintained here. But we exported. 2018 Diwali, the day, that is also very vividly remember. I was lying down on the bed after having a good meal in the afternoon, after having some fun with my society mates. The call comes from Saudi. We received your gauges, rejected.
And you knew that they were.
We had an inkling, looking at the way it was, but we thought, chalo yaar, Indian mentality, chalo, chalta hai. Sent it, lost, 5 lakhs. I don't know what made me say, but in that sleep I told, I'll get you a replacement. And I told this to Ravi and Ajay. So that was the time we did due diligence, who can make quality gauges, because these gauges were going for Aramco. Aramco is the biggest oil.
Yeah.
So we found a suitable manufacturer in Vapi. We gave them the order, and since then, the gauges orders never stopped coming. In 4 years, we were doing a good turnover, almost to the tune of 5, only on gauges, 5 crores plus turnover. And then at the end of 5th year, even the Saudi company which were dealing with us, they told us, why don't you start, man, now that you have been doing this, we do the engineering, we do the drawings, we do the quality checks, we do everything, why don't you start your manufacturing? And that's how in 2022, we decided to put up a unit in Vapi, and 2023, it started production. So that is Diktis Technologies.
Last year you started.
Last year. Manufacturing. Wow. So we were doing manufacturing using a third party, contract manufacturing. Ultimately, we found out 3 manufacturers which used to do on us. We used to do this engineering, we used to give the drawings to them, they used to manufacture based on that, and we used to export to Saudi. And then slowly it started growing also. We started expanding into other parts of the Middle East. We exported to Vietnam, we exported to those kind of things. So it slowly starts, right, once you get into that. And that is how this happened. So there's a lot of interesting things. So many things once you jump in. That's what, again, I tell people life is not only about sedentary job that you do. You get out in that and you start facing those challenges. Maja aata hai, really. For me, it's a matter of...
I think it speaks a testament to the energy you have more than anything. So, I'm still trying to wonder what you just said on Diwali day, celebrating with your friends, with family around, and you get a phone call with the most depressing news you want to ever hear on a festival day. And then what's your response? It's not, damn you, after all this we've done, it's, I'll correct it. It's this particular way of thinking which is so different, right? I mean, something went wrong. I mean, instead of filing a suit, oh, you signed, you said you'll take it, now let's sue. You pull back and say, well, we didn't meet your requirement, because you know what quality they expect. So then you find an alternate way, and this eventually becomes a totally different line of income for you, right?
See, to be honest, yes, that was the pivotal day for us in the business. Diwali and business are related, right? Diwali, they speak of business only, and here it was the lowest point, but something, I told you, that was providence. That was something which came in that we'll replace. It is, no thought was given. How much we started, Ravi and I, how much we put into the 10,000 rupees, we both of us. 20,000 rupees we started Theia consultancy. That is our share, whatever you call it. 20,000 rupees we started, honest. But ultimately at the second year we were doing a turnover of 5 crores.
So in this case, because it's manufacturing, right? Because it's, I would say, an old school industry, right? So I'm guessing, do you think that because of your age, this gives you a natural advantage? Vis-a-vis if you were going into something like finance or tech, right? You'll be easily outsmarted by people who are 30, 40 years younger, because that's a knowledge everybody can get. But your knowledge is pretty niche to that area, which is not something which other people, maybe younger, can just grab on and compete with. Do you think you have a natural competitive advantage here which others find difficult to match?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because I always, my professional journey started with a manufacturing unit, right? Big unit, Steel Authority of India Limited, 4 million tons of steel, huge processes, huge machines. Whereas our manufacturing unit of gauges don't need those. Only need a 3,000 square feet of space for having different things organized and things like that. Coming to manufacturing, again, there are different types of, when I come back, and today when I look at manufacturing in India, we travel a lot, we see a lot of, because you need a lot of supplies, right? You need a lot of raw materials. Everything is a manufacturing process. You go to Thane, you go deep inside Thane, you go to Kurla, and you will find flourishing manufacturing business, but in the most unorthodox ways. Indian jugaad mentality is something amazing to be looked at. People are not aware of what are things happening outside. We could be such a big country in manufacturing if only we knew what are the standards that is required to be met. It is so disorganized. People, you go to Kurla, you will find a small shop with 10 machines, lathe machines, CNC machines, churning out. Some of them are being exported to various parts of the world. And because for us, I told you that. So probably that manufacturing industry cycle is like that, wherein the old methods are still going on. But see, what we wanted in our manufacturing unit was we needed to be the state of the art. We needed to be accepted by people from outside the country as well. So if you come to BITS Technologies facility in Vapi, we try to follow what norms that Saudi Aramco wants as their manufacturing norms. So when you come, everyone will have PPE equipments, you will have the marking on the floor, you will have those fire extinguishers in place, you will not find a crowded workshop. You will find proper labeling and all these things. You will have the safety process. In fact, we were audited by Quality Council of India and they had approved us. But that is cost. Again, it all depends on what you need, right? Today, when Ravi, Ajay and I are not looking at money is important, but money first has to be given to our employees. Money has to be first. Whatever money comes has to be first given. Only then, whatever money is left is what you take. So there's a thinking there. Like, I mean, when manufacturing, you go to any manufacturing facility, probably some of them are looking at, "Arey, humko 10,000, 10,000 pieces has to be made this day, whatever be it, whatever be the conditions." It's different because of our exposure again. Yeah. That exposure has helped us give us this kind of thought. So that's why yes and no.
So are you aware of the government's Make in India program? You know, it was to encourage entrepreneurs to actually build in India. And you know, it's interesting you say you go to Kurla, you see small shops using, I'm guessing they're all part of the unorganized sector and you're the organized sector, right? So I'm guessing you pay taxes, you pay GST, everything. So do you think the government is doing enough to encourage more such entrepreneurs like you to get into manufacturing?
On paper, government is doing, yes.
That's a very interesting answer. So what's the real answer?
Because we are an approved startup by the government of India. We have a DIPP number. We find WAPI to be a very congenial place for building a business. In fact, when we zeroed in on WAPI, because that is a good ecosystem for our gauge business, because there are other gauge manufacturers also there. So there are a lot of raw material supplies locally. So you get all the manpower also locally, and the Gujarat government is that way. What we felt was very proactive. As soon as we applied, the second day they came up with a phone call asking from the Chief Minister's office of Gujarat, asking like, is everything okay? Do you face any problems? So we set up the unit in a very, it was very fast. In 2 months, the manufacturing, the interiors, everything was done. Whatever was needed, all the floors were made, all those internals were made. Now, one thing on paper, yes, because see. Manufacturing industry needs, how do I put it, a proper cash flow, which is a struggle that we face currently, which is a challenge we are always facing. And majority of us is exports. So when we give out, people want material on credit, say 60 days, 90 days. The government says 45 days is for the MSME to be payments to be got. Okay? You can, for a MSME, we are expected to be paid within 45 days of our delivery. That is
paid by?
Paid by whoever is your end user.
As in, government controls when someone needs to pay you?
Government doesn't control, but there is a, you can use the MSME Samadhan portal to complain against that company, which could be blacklisted.
A company you're exporting to?
Not exporting, in India. We can't control anyone outside.
Correct, got it.
But in India at least, if you give to a company. But see, that's all on paper. I mean, no one takes that hassle of having a struggle with the end user finally, right? It's business. Now, our suppliers, they normally don't give on credit. They want immediate payment. So there is always going to, suppose you get a 5 lakh order or say 20 lakhs order. So always somewhere down the line, at least a half a crore of rupees is floating, where you need to be really, what do you call?
Suppliers don't give you credit?
Majority of them don't. That's the Indian way of doing it.
Oh, supplying, what do they supply?
They supply, for gauges manufacturing, what do they supply? Some steel components, some glass and all those. All those cost around, say, one order will cost around 2 lakh rupees, 3 lakh rupees. See, what happens is ultimately you build a business relationship. When you first talk to someone, no one gives you credit. So over time, they see how the flow of money happens. When you take, when you give, all those kind of things. So you need to build that. We are starters, right? We are a startup. So we need to build our reputation to get into a level where someone can give you credits. So that's, and for running these things probably, whenever I walk, I get a call from somewhere saying that we can give you so much loan, we can give you this, that, this. But when you need cash flow, when you apply for a loan, you find that you are not eligible because so many other conditions are there. So that's why I said on paper, see, intent is good, but probably things need to be made a little more that's what my feeling is as an MSME operator, as a manufacturer, that probably the government could come up, could follow through on their promises.
So working capital requirements, right?
Yes, working capital
requirements. Working capital requirements for ongoing businesses. Do you think they need to have much more better tailored products for working capital requirements for businesses? Because as of now, if you want more working capital, what are the options if you approach banks? Will they give it to you?
We are currently doing it. In fact, as I was coming, I was speaking to my bank for more OD and stuff like that, right? The thing is, say, suppose a project is available. Suppose I get small values. Say I got a 15 lakh rupees worth project. So based on that purchase order, I should be able to straight away get loans for that, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that. Like for a startup, I'm still not 3 years old. For anything, they want a 3-year balance sheet. So that technicalities are all there. Like then we have to convince them by, I have a DIPP number, then they get the approvals. All this takes 2 months to come. By the time your project is gone.
That's the problem.
So all these technicalities are there. It's there. But it's like my younger son who is now going to do his MBA. He is shortlisting all these colleges across the world. And there's a consultant who says that they have the 3 recommendations. Unless you fill these 3 recommendations, you cannot go to the next step. Jabki he's worked for 3 years, you only need 2 recommendations. So unless that is cleared off, we cannot move that. Similarly in the banks. This is required, that is required, everything takes its own sweet time for approvals and stuff like that.
I want to take one step back. So you came back from Saudi, you're starting the company. How did you learn about, how do you charter a company? How do you pay your taxes? What is GST? Who taught you those things?
Ravi. Everything. I told you Ravi is the fulcrum. For me, I give ideas. Ravi does the implementation. Of course, I know what is GST, I know how the things were done, but Ravi took care of everything.
Chartering the company, putting together.
Everything, because he has done that kind of, he was in Jindal Drilling when he learned about the operations of the company. And of course, we had a chartered accountant, we had a company secretary, all who knew. Ravi was based out of Mumbai. He was born in Bhilai but grew up in Mumbai. So he knew the local, what kind of things are needed, had the contacts. We learnt a lot. We didn't know anything. We didn't know what exports was. We didn't know. When everything was ready for exporting, they asked me, give us your AD code. What is AD code? That took 7 days for us. Authorization, some dealer code. AD code was, and that we needed some documents to the bank. The bank goes to the, was that at that time, Bombay Airport, customs, all those formalities. Unless you get the code, you cannot export. We didn't even know that. We only knew we had an IEC code, India Import-Export code. That we had, we thought we were the exporters, but we cannot export without an AD code. We learnt along the way. Everything we was learning. Even today we learn. GST, again, what was very interesting. How after we changed over to the current this thing, right? Today everything is on the system. Oh my God, big lessons. Each time. Everything is learning.
You are figuring out GST. You are figuring out how to make something run in Vapi. You are figuring out everything at the same time. But suddenly, magically, you decide, I have a lot of free time. Let's write a book. How did that happen?
Again, I had to get back to my childhood days. I was studying in school, and I remember my English teacher quite fondly to the day, T.K. Ramanujan. We used to call
Why
him,
did you have this fascination with English?
the teacher initially in school, we used to call him Bahu. Bahu because he was a huge guy, and when he used to cough, Bahu. So that name stuck, Bahu. But so he created that fascination. But again, back at home, there was another interesting thing happening. My father ensured that I speak to my sister only in English, so that when you converse, you become better, and so you have a chance of getting into a good college or something like that, at English. So growing up, that fascination continued. I used to read a lot of books even when I was a child. Lucky again, how? Not because I was a member of the library, didn't have the money to be there, but some of my friends were my library members. I used to borrow the books.
What were some books you grew up with?
Hardy Boys, Three Investigators, then slowly graduated, went on to Sidney Sheldon, Irving Wallace, whatnot, and Fountainhead by all those kind of books. Even I used to love Wodehouse, Subtle Humor, R.P.J. Wodehouse. So those kind of books also, and that gave me that better. I thought I was a little better in English than, even when I went to Pilani, I found that my English is good.
So to interrupt you, you read so many books. Has reading all these books in subjects which are very different from what you're working, how has it impacted you being as a person? Now that have this whole body of knowledge which is mixture of philosophy, English, culture, did that play a role in who you are in some way?
True, very, very much true. Yes, because always when you read a book, you get impacted, right? And any of the book that I read has impacted. I told you, Rich Dad Poor Dad played a big influence on my life. The biggest influence, if I may say. That has been the biggest influence. So each book has had its part in whatever the way it has shaped my thinking, or the way I even It has changed the way I behave also. Incidents happens like I told you, I became a carefree man only after I had that down in my life. So all those kind of things. Now, and I liked writing some. Like when we were young, remember those inland letters we used to send to our parents?
Wait, why do you look at me and say when we were young? I'm 20 years younger than you, sir.
When we were young, okay.
You
You are
look
young
at me,
now.
look at him, look at
See,
him.
you are young. I consider myself young because that's why I looked at you. No offense. Okay. So I used to like writing, and people somehow, whoever seen me write, used to tell me that you're good at writing. That affirmation used to come. So even on social media, whenever I put out a post on Facebook or Insta, you always find that I've written so much for a post that I do. A photograph will have something written, even today. So my children knew that I could write. They used to tell me, Papa, why don't you write? Then in Toastmasters, whenever I used to give a speech, or whenever I go on travels, I used to write. So people have been telling me to write a long way. It is there. Something I knew I needed to write one day. Just February 24th of this year, I was invited for a book launch.
Okay.
And that happened in the Fern Hotel in Turbe.
How did this invite come?
I am part of an organization called Association of Business Leaders and Entrepreneurs, ABLE, ABLE in Navi Mumbai. One of the members there, she's a chartered accountant, Gayatri Srinivasan, sent out an invite that her book is coming out. Wow. The book launch, I had to pay 500 rupees for that. Okay. I went there and I got exposed to this community called Teachers or Leaders Community, TLC. There's an organization based out of Chennai. They are across India and some parts of the Middle East. I found a system of how people can be converted to authors. Just like Toastmasters. Somehow Toastmasters resonated because in Toastmasters, if you do it well, you can become a better communicator, a better speaker. Here I found something to become an author. I signed that day that I am going to become an author. That was the inspiration.
This is what month?
24th of February this year.
So February you signed up. Okay, then what happened?
There they said that begin with an end in mind. They said, when is your book going to come out? So they have events across India on various dates. The next event in Navi Mumbai was on the 27th of July 2024. I said my book will be over by that day.
Which means you had what, 6 months to get your
5
book?
months.
Can you give me that book, please, Mario?
5 months.
So from February till now, that's it. That's all the time you had to sit and write this.
Yes.
The Great Corporate Escape. And is this a book about you?
So, yeah, it's sort of my, I won't say my biography, but my experiences. It's chronicled my journey across.
Is there a reason you have this poster?
This poster was designed by distinguished Toastmaster Ron Billy Moria.
Okay. Is there a
It's
reason?
a chain, right? It's a chain.
A suited man with a chain.
Yes, and so corporate. It gives that, and you're escaping, breaking the chains and escaping away. And is going out into, is breaking free, going into something which, the realms of the possibilities, if I say so.
So you decided that you're going to write a book in what? March, April, May, June, July. 5 months to write a book.
5 months to write.
How did that process go?
So the first month is purely about organizing the book. So TLC has a program wherein first they make you believe that you're going to be an author and you're going to be a successful author.
Okay.
So they take you through the steps. There are a lot of pledges that you make to yourself as well. So they got certain worksheets. They help you, that this process helped me to filter out a lot of thoughts. See, when you want to write, you have so many things to write, right? Your life, you live for 50 years, you have so many incidents. But ultimately, it needs to be coherent. You need to have that focus theme, what is about you want to write, and all those things. And I believed that I need to follow that, and I stuck to that. That was number one. Number two, I got the support also. My family was egging me on. You are put out on social media that your book is going to come on 27th. Everyone is behind me. My wife used to wake me up every day at 5:15. So 5:30 to 7 every morning I was writing. So when you look at that, it sort of gives you a complete, it makes you an author. And that's what happened. So now you have to give the complete manuscript to the publisher 1 month before. They need 30-35 days. TLC did. They are a non-profit publishing house. They gave us a choice, whom you want, you can choose. I chose them because I thought I am taking help from them for the mentoring process. And so probably in the month of June. I think I remember June 15th or something, June 18th. My manuscript was ready. Editing and proofreading was done by my daughter-in-law, Ashwin, as wife, Christina. Ashwin married his long-term girlfriend of almost 10 years. So she did the complete proofreading and edits. She's a doctor by profession, so she did everything. And there I am. I mean, as an author, it's an amazing journey if you look at it.
So I hope to be a publisher myself. So I'm right now itself requesting I'm going to come to you to mentor me.
Publisher or author?
Author. I've been meaning to write. I have something written as well, but I don't know if it's good enough to publish. So let us see. I will show you what I've written. But even I would love to publish someday. Sir, I feel like the time has passed a little too quickly, and your story has so many nuances. While you were speaking, I had a question. I want to know, how did Ashwin marry a Christian? How did that conversation happen? I feel like there is everything you say. There are at least 3-4 questions that come up.
That's an amazing chapter. I mean,
But unfortunately, I know you have to run. So I want to invite you right now. I know another guest is still sitting here thinking we're doing it to all the guests. I promise you we do not. I would love to have you again for another episode whenever we can arrange the next shoot. Because
it will be my absolute pleasure.
there is
lots to tell.
there is so much. I'm
Lots
pretty
to
sure we have not heard everything.
Yeah, this is just a synopsis of a lot of the things that have happened. So many things
The
that-
Great Corporate Escape. This is available everywhere, right? Amazon, Flipkart.
Amazon,
It's there.
in India, Amazon. It's on Amazon in India and abroad, and on Kindle.
You can connect with Syam on LinkedIn by linkedin.com/in entrepreneur-Syam, and you can reach Syam on X at @Syam SYAMWAWAY, and
Shambe.
may I please request an autograph, sir?
Great pleasure and honor, and I
So
can
this is not going to be your last book, I guess.
for sure, yes. For sure. I mean, not my last book.
See, Mario, he said, "Dear Krishna," not "Dear Mario."
For sure. I know
We will buy another book, sir, and we will get it from you. Thank you so much for this, and thank you so much for gracing our show today. What a fantastic day we've had, Mario. We've had an amazing guest today. It was an absolute pleasure.
So are you not inspired by Syam to tickle those entrepreneurial bugs in your body which have been dominant?
This is the year where I am being tickled with everything. Wait, that sounded wrong. No, this is the year where.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for being a guest here. And with that,
Thank you so much.
episode
meeting you.
5 is in the books.